You're listening to the Cheaters Never Pin podcast, a proud part of the Section 328 family. Follow us on Twitter at CheatersInVRPin. Now, live from ringside, it's Mr. Workrate and JC. Welcome back, everybody, to the reimagined Cheaters Never Pin podcast.
This has a familiar ring to it.
It does.
Feels as if I've done this recently.
Do you mean like 24 hours ago?
I don't know. Can you actually hear me? Can you, the listeners, actually hear me? That's the important thing.
Well, I'm not stopping this recording in the middle of it to check and then have to splice it back together. So we won't know until the end again. I'm JC. Here next to me at the commentary booth. Hopefully you can hear him. Is my good buddy, Mr. Workrate, Tom.
It's still a pleasure to be here. At least maybe to be heard. Are any of us really here? We're going to get onto a metaphysical level, I think.
Yes, to pull back the curtain a little bit. Last night we attempted to record the podcast as usual, only to find out at the end when I imported it into my editing software, off the recording software, that it only recorded my side of the entire conversation. So there now exists 60 minutes of me rambling.
Which we still may make available to the public. Or not necessarily to the public, to our El Patrons.
Yes. We may just cut it down into to a couple of rants I went into, which sound really batshit crazy without another person.
The reference I think I made on the internet was there's a comic strip where the Garfield comic strip, they take Garfield out of the comic. It's called Garfield minus Garfield. So it's just pretty much strips of John Arbuckle, like, basically losing his mind because he's just seemingly talking to himself and reacting to absolutely nothing.
Yeah. It makes him look just like the most depressed person on the planet.
Yeah. Oh, that's this Rumble. Okay, so again, we're just putting on. When we record these, I throw something on the network, and I've been putting on Rumbles recently because our Rumble is coming up. We'll talk about that.
Yes.
But I did the '97 Rumble last night, which didn't turn out that well. I mean, the Rumble was fine. Just last night didn't. But today is the 2002 Royal Rumble, which apparently I started watching at one time because as I flip it on, it's mid-Rumble at this point, and they just cut to a clip of Maven with his head busted wide open. And I go, oh, this is the one where Biker Taker got thrown out by Maven. And
right.
Biker Taker got pissed off and proceeded to just grab Maven, eliminate him, and beat the living crap out of him for nonstop, several minutes.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Also, Scotty 2 Hotty has his hair cut, and it just looks really weird.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Yes. So as Tom alluded to, tonight we're going to talk about
that's what I'm doing.
Yes, we're going to talk about the 2018 Royal Rumble coming up in just a couple of short days. And we also realized last night in our recording that didn't actually happen, that we forgot to touch on NXT TakeOver. So maybe we'll spend our usual Big Four preview episode of 30 seconds on TakeOver.
Yeah. We'll just breeze through it. Yep. And then go fast.
Here's what's going to happen. Yep. Anyway, so do we just want to start with the news from today and spend 2 minutes on that before we get into the Rumble?
Yeah. Had we recorded yesterday, we would have been able to hit you with this late-breaking news.
It actually kind of worked really well. Alpha Entertainment LLC, the company formed by Vince McMahon a month or so ago after selling $100 million in stock, announced today in a press conference led by Vince that the XFL is returning, reimagined, in 2020.
It's back, baby.
I'm stupidly excited too, and I do not know why.
I'm waiting for my renewal email. Because I think I still have the same email address.
Would you buy tickets for the New York, New Jersey Hitmen again?
That's going to be a hell of a commute for that, but no, I would not.
Yes.
Because that team was horrible.
Right.
They averaged 11 points a game.
Ooh. That was real tiny for the XFL.
If you are familiar with professional football, 11 is not a lot of points.
No.
I think there are actual games that they literally scored 11 points because, it was bad enough that the team was mediocre. I think they were 4-4 or something like that. But they couldn't win at home. They would go on the road and win they scored 20 points in this game. Cool, we're on a roll. Then they'd come home and score 6.
Jesus. That's terrible.
Yeah.
So 10 teams with locations and venues yet to be determined. They still have 2 years.
Well, 8 to start, I thought.
Oh yeah, 8. I'm sorry. I have 10 in my head. It is 8.
It's 10 weeks, I think.
A 10-week regular season followed by 2 weeks of postseason, just semis and a final. Players will be paid and then paid to win more. That carries over from the XFL, the original XFL, I should say. What else?
XFL Classic
1.0.
Yeah.
Yes. Beta. The XFL beta. But it seems as if this is not going to be the gimmicky XFL of the past. They want to play a faster game. Vince even talked about, I don't know that anyone can really hold, no one wants to watch anything for 3 hours. So.
Yeah, it's a 3.5 hour sporting event is too much for people.
Yeah. Yeah, here's 7 hours of WrestleMania. Sit the fuck down. It's like, Jesus, Vince. Yeah, so they want to keep games to 2 hours. They're toying with the idea of eliminating halftime. They want the rules to be simpler, not only for the players' benefit, but mostly for the fans' benefit, and they want it to be a really fan-centric league. The teaser video that they aired also I had a huge emphasis on fantasy football being a part of the league.
And gambling.
Yes. So again, all we know at this point is it is an 8-team league starting in late January or early February of 2020.
Yeah.
And Vince has said he's not going to be at the forefront. They're working on hiring people to run the football and the medical end of things and the entertainment end of things. And he is going to stay in his role within WWE as the chairman and CEO and run creative. It sounds like at this point, and I mean, this is Vince, so his hands will be in it because he can't help himself. But he wants to, at this point, basically just fund a league and move on and have some guidance over it, but not be hands-on in the day-to-day operations.
Yeah, honestly, hearing everything that I've heard from the press conference and all the bits and pieces that we've gotten out of it so far, it seems like Vince sat down, watched the XFL 30 for 30 and a couple of the other interviews and things like that happened around that same time and everyone talking about it, and pretty much just took notes and went, what are they making fun of? Okay, let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of anything they made fun of and stick with the stuff that they actually approved of. Because when they approached the thing of, oh, will they do the nicknames on the back? And he's like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I think that would still be a fun thing to keep. That would differentiate them.
Yeah, I mean,
that
was one of the other selling points of the XFL over the NFL back in 2001 was that the NFL had turned itself into this no fun league, that they were cutting down on celebrations and, individuality and being able to express themselves, which, funny thing about the new version anyway, but that was one of the things that they kind of built around was that, gives the players some personality because the NFL is so stuffy. So, yeah, they've said that there's not going to be the stripper cheerleaders or the a lot of the other extreme attitude era type trademarks that the XFL had in 2001. But outside of that, we don't really know that much about it. There's no TV deal necessarily set in place. We don't even know if there is going to be a TV deal.
Right.
There's been talk about the Facebook Live being a potential outlet for it.
See, that's the good thing for them now, is not being restrained by broadcast television.
Yeah, and I had said something online too about to a couple of people that one of the things I think that killed the XFL, because the original XFL, a lot of people rip on it. And again, I went to games. I was a season ticket holder for a freaking team. There were actual positives to the league that realistically any sports league, you can't just give it 1 year and just expect everything to go off running.
Yeah.
And especially with the amount of time that they had to actually get the league going, they didn't have the advance time to be able to work on this, unlike what they're actually doing now. They're giving themselves basically 2 years to kind of develop everything and actually put some thought into everything. But you could tell with the original XFL that there were some things there that, yeah, the talent wasn't necessarily that strong, but it was mainly because I think coaching had a bit to do with it, because they didn't go out and go, okay, let's get some of these new advanced coaches, or, let's grab some assistant coaches that might want a head coaching job somewhere else. They went for these old kind of retired coaches that were smash mouth, restricted football, that while they kind of promised this brand new, out of the box kind of thinking, they brought in actual football people that were very antiquated with their style of football. So you didn't have a lot of energy with the games. So they may go in a different direction with that. But the ideas were there. There are a lot of decent ideas that they could have built off of, that you make mistakes one season, then you go, okay, this is what was good, this is what was bad. We trim away what was bad, we change what was bad, and then we work more on the good. They had 1 year, they had no time to work on the good. It was over.
Yep.
Because NBC a lot of that had to do with ratings and dealing with NBC and them seeing advertisers going down, because that first week the XFL did like a 10 rating or something like that, which was ridiculous.
Yeah, they did crazy numbers those first couple of weeks
on network TV. So advertisers are being promised, hey, look, we got a 10. So advertisers are jumping all over that. And of course, NBC is plugging this, going, oh, you see how popular wrestling is, and see, the XFL is going to give you these ratings too. And then the ratings just getting cut in half and then half and then half. And NBC bailed out. And the moment that NBC bailed out and all the money kind of dried up, it's like, well, fuck it, why should we do it?
Yep.
You don't have that necessarily now. You have more autonomy. So
yep.
I think it has a better chance. And I think, too, part of Vince's braggadociousness about him he felt, or at least it seemed like to me, that he wanted to compete with the NFL.
Right.
He wanted an alternative to the NFL. That's not what the XFL can be. Maybe, years and years and years down the line, that's one thing. But if he approaches the XFL as this football during the off season, basically, is what that kind of is. Mm-hmm. But as a minor league, essentially, or at least a building league, and an NXT, if you will, for the NFL, then it'll do well, I think, if you just kind of keep that restriction there and just kind of keep your expectations at a particular level. I mean, arena football is entertaining as hell if you've ever seen an arena football game.
Oh yeah.
And those are lower level people. College football, college players are not professional players. Some of them eventually turn into professional players, but I mean, most of college football players can't play in the NFL.
Right.
But college football is still entertaining. So that's the thing. It's if everyone's on that same level, it's not because the people that were going into the XFL were completely horrible players that
not at all.
That were just kind of walking off the street going, geez, I like to play football. No, they're still dealing with the same talent pool. So expectations just have to be realistic.
Yes. I wrote my thoughts up, kind of real basic thoughts up on cheatersneverpin.com that you can go read. Yeah. But that's our XFL talk. And when the XFL season starts in 2020, Tom and I will be hosting our second podcast, Cheaters Never Fade Route.
There we go. I don't actually know that much about football, so. But then again, I don't know much about anything.
I mean, yeah. We just pretend to know about wrestling. So, I mean, that's pretty much, let's be real.
Well, I fake it, and wrestling's fake, so it works.
It's perfect. All right. Now let's get to the main event, what people came here to hear about. The 2018 Royal Rumble, emanating from the Wells Fargo Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I almost said Pittsburgh, and I was like, nope.
Oh, nope. That would have gotten you some quality heel heat right there. It would have.
But I'm a babyface, so I'm a natural babyface. I'm much like Johnny Gargano. So I guess we'll start with the Rumble matches themselves and then go through the rest of the card. Because of course we want to spend the most time on those. So let's start off with the Men's Royal Rumble, of course, as always. A 30-man match, eliminated over the top rope. Both feet must hit the floor to be eliminated. The winner gets to be in the main event of WrestleMania.
Point to the sign.
Yes.
Point to it.
It is officially point to the sign season. So here's who is confirmed. Let me pull up this nifty spreadsheet that Tom made for us.
While you were writing an article on the XFL, I was making a spreadsheet.
Yeah. All right, here's who's confirmed. We've got Elias, Randy Orton, Shinsuke Nakamura, John Cena, Finn Balor, Baron Corbin, Matt Hardy, Bray Wyatt, Rusev, Aiden English, Apollo Crews, Titus O'Neil, The Miz, Ty Dillinger, Big E, Kofi Kingston, and Xavier Woods. 17 names confirmed out of 30 spots, which is maybe one of the least amounts I've ever seen.
Yeah. That leaves us with 13 if you are not strong at the maths. They say maths.
Maths.
That was for our European listeners because they say maths plural.
Right. Well, it's mathematics, so that makes sense. I always say if I'm struggling, I'm like, my math is broke.
Okay.
So if your math is broke, it's 13.
There you go.
So off of this list of who's confirmed, who do you think, if you have to pick a winner out of these guys, because obviously these are the guys that are being pushed, so they have, arguably the best chance of winning. Who do you think walks away pointing at the sign?
I'm leaning Nakamura. It's a safe pick, I think. I don't bother to look at the odds. I like surprise in my Rumble. So I've stayed away from any kind of close to spoiler regarding the odds for the Rumble. But I mean, if there are odds like that, I think Nakamura would be one of the favorites, just because that leads into a potential Nakamura AJ Styles WrestleMania matchup.
Yeah, I love that idea. See, I'm also going to stay away from the odds for the next few days, because last year I saw the spoiler of what was going to happen, and then was even more underwhelmed when Randy Orton won. I was like, oh, okay, that did happen. If I have to pick one name off this list, so you're taking Shinsuke, I'm going to go with the red brand, and I'm going to pick Finn Balor.
Of course you are.
Well, yeah, so we're setting him up with Balor Club again, or we're now setting him up with Balor Club. So we're giving him the push with Hunter at the end of Raw 25.
Right.
Like, I feel like we're starting to communicate more that he is important. and not in a very subtle manner either.
Right. I mean, there isn't much of a bigger rub that you can give than that.
Right.
I mean, they had the crowd support's always been there, and
right.
The Smarks jumped on full blast when Gallows and Anderson joined him, because they know, they're saying it's Balor Club, but it's really Bullet Club. My cool T-shirt that I got from Hot Topic means something. They have beanies now.
What?
They actually don't look
what,
bad.
Tom? I don't need a hat. I've got my LIJ hat. I'm good.
Yeah, and I'm jealous of that. For those of you who weren't listening to yesterday's podcast,
so everyone,
JC got some kind of loot crate box type thing from
ProWrestlingCrate.com.
Okay. Are they the same people who do Pro Wrestling Tees?
Yes, it's the same company.
Okay. And he got a whole bunch of cool stuff in there. One of the cool things that he got outside of his autographed Shane Douglas 8x10. It's my belt. It's my belt.
We'll put cool in quotes for that, but okay.
Is a Los Ingobernables de Japan. Fucker, I said that right.
Japan? Los Ingobernables de Japón.
Hey, it's close enough. I made my tongue not move for most of that, all right? It's good enough.
Okay.
So anyway, an LIJ trucker hat to cosplay Naito.
No, I'm working on growing my hair out now, so it's good.
So you can orange it up.
Yes. I just need a stuffed cat now.
Well, are you Naitoing, or are you actually gonna? Which member of LIJ are you trying to be? Are you trying to be them all at the same time?
No, I'm going. Oh yeah, never mind. I did just combine those, didn't I?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll just be Naito. I'd rather be Naito than Takahashi.
And then just start blowing green mist and
carrying a sickle.
Be evil Bushi.
Yeah. Okay, I have no clue where we were before that tangent occurred.
We were talking about who's going to win the Rumble.
Right, there you go.
How the hell did I retain that?
All right, so those are your picks off of who's officially in the match. So looking at the list of other talent that's currently signed, who could win?
Okay, so it's still trying to figure out who the hell's actually going to be in it, let alone win. So I made this spreadsheet, and you can't have it, but
I mean, you could put it up.
I could. No one's going to actually want it. But kind of crossed off, because I'm assuming if you're wrestling in a match that night, you're not going to also be in the Rumble. They have done that in the past, where people that have had matches earlier in the night for whatever reason.
Like if AJ or Lesnar were to drop their belt, I could see them being in the Rumble. I could see Sammy and Kevin being in the Rumble.
Yeah.
I could see Braun and Kane being in the Rumble easily. I could see any of those guys in there.
But I'm assuming not, because they have enough in the past. If you're repeating, it's because you don't have the volume necessarily that, let's be honest, WWE has a ton of talent to be able to throw into a Rumble match without denying someone a payday, basically.
Yeah. I mean, you got Kurt Hawkins in there to get thrown out by somebody.
Right. So kind of crossing off the people that have already been booked, I realized Bobby Roode's not listed. He doesn't have a title defense necessarily with his newly won U.S. title.
Oh, yeah.
So
he could certainly be in it.
I would think that he'd be in the Rumble.
Yep.
I threw Pete Dunne out there as a possibility. He probably won't be, just because travel from this point. I mean, Pete Dunne's still wrestling in England right now, so.
Right.
I don't. It's not like he's like an NXT person like the rest of the NXT group.
I don't know if anyone on the UK, like, I don't think Progress has a show this weekend. I don't know about Rev Pro or ICW. So we could very well see some of the UK guys. Put Wolfgang in the Rumble. That'd be awesome. Down.
Now, see, Wolfgang isn't listed under the talent. That was one of the other things where I was thinking about people who were going to be in it. I just went solely off of the WWE website of talent.
All right.
Wolfgang's not listed in there, but
really,
Pete Dunne is.
Well, so. he's the champ.
Just looking over at other people that may end up going in there, not necessarily people that'll win, but I mean, fillers like, the Miz Taraj will probably end up in there. Kurt Hawkins will probably go in there. He'll probably be the 3-second elimination because you need somebody to come into the ring just to be eliminated super quickly.
Right.
And that seems to be the joke with him.
If I had to pick somebody off this list, I also just noticed that you put Dwayne Johnson and not The Rock. You fucking mark. Are you smart?
Because it is listed on the WWE website.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Do not tell me it says Dwayne Johnson.
As Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Oh, God. Douchey. If I have to pick...
I've also crossed him out.
Yeah.
Because The Rock is not in the Royal Rumble.
No.
I'm sorry. He's not in the Royal Rumble.
Yeah. If I have to pick someone on this list that's not already booked, Jesus Christ, that's actually kind of a tough one. Oh, it's Roman Reigns. Never mind.
I was going to say, look at that second column.
Yeah, Roman Reigns, who I honestly think will win it. He is my pick to win the Royal Rumble from the 30 spot.
Boo.
I know, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I like Roman, but I don't want to see him win the Rumble this year. So people not on this list at all. Pick one. Pick one person you want to see in the Rumble.
But I made this huge list.
But we just went through the list.
I even put people on here who aren't in WWE.
I know. You can pick one of those if you'd like.
To win or to be in it?
No, just to be in it. One-offs, unless it's someone with like a legacy connection to the company, like a Rock or a Batista or something, they're not winning.
Right. I think EC3 is going to be in there. I think he's kind of like almost like the worst kept secret. Just because his contract is done completely. He doesn't have a no compete or anything like that, so he's free to jump in there.
Are you saying he's the hottest free agent in sports entertainment?
Sure.
I'm down with that. Trouble.
I still don't know that.
God, it's such a great theme.
But yeah, outside of that, I don't think... Oh, one other thing that I had noticed, though, as I was going through the list of active competitors, not people that are not alumni or anything like that, but people, current superstars. It says in the little drop-down thing that they have on the WWE website, it says current superstars. One, it is funny that Dwayne The Rock Johnson is on there. One of the other people that is on there is Chris Jericho. Like, not listed in the alumni section.
Let me check the Fozzy Tour schedule. Please hold. I mean, you can talk while I'm doing it, so it's not just dead air.
I assumed music would come on. Sorry.
No, I can't. I don't know. I'm not. What music? Yeah, the Fozzy Tour does not start until February 28th, so. But he's not available for Mania, so.
Well, it doesn't mean he's going to win.
Right.
But he could still, go 62 minutes.
Oh my God, yes. And he could. That's the thing. DDP.
Other people on that list that I had to kind of look up to see if they still existed or not of when they last wrestled.
Mm-hmm.
Big Show hasn't wrestled since September.
Okay.
Which was that King Kong Bundy looking match that he had, where he like shaved his whole face and looked real weird. Mark Henry hasn't wrestled since WrestleMania.
Wow, you're right. And they have been using him a little bit lately on TV.
Yeah, he was on Raw 25. So, that's possible.
Yeah.
And again, it's a battle royal. You're not asking somebody to do a 15-minute full-blown spotted match or anything like that. Mm-hmm. He can stand around for a couple of minutes and take a breather in the corner if he's not in complete cardio or anything like that. Whatever.
Those are good ones. One more. We gotta move on.
Okay. The Colognes and Sin Cara all have not wrestled since Starrcade.
Isn't one of the Colognes hurt though?
That's why they were out initially, and for whatever reason they came back for Starrcade, and I don't know. Both of them did. Oh. So I was like, oh, they're back now. I guess we'll start seeing them on TV. But no, it was just for Starrcade, and they're done. Yeah. So I don't know. Okay. We're not going to see any of those people. No. We might see Mark Henry or Big Show or something like that, just for that. That's the closest thing we'd get to like a surprise legend or whatever that we used to get.
True. I don't know. It's an intriguing match this year.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what's going to happen this year. I really can't call it.
We've got a lot of talent in WWE. We've got, NXT guys that could come in. There's always 205 guys that could get put in there.
One name we totally did not mention, and I don't know if he's going to be healed in time because I don't know the status of him, but Drew McIntyre.
I don't know because, it was a bicep tear, wasn't it?
Yeah, and that's why I'm thinking. I just don't know the severity of it, and they've been so quiet about him, too, that I'm like,
Yeah. So yeah, I had thought about that, but
it's a possibility.
I thought that was one of those, 6-month healing time type things, so you never know.
We'll see. All right, moving on to the Women's Royal Rumble match, which will follow the same rule set as the men's match. The entire roster except for Charlotte, who is a champion, and Alexa Bliss is involved. And Paige, because she's hurt.
Right.
So I'm not going to read the list of names, because that's really pointless. Because it's everybody. Yeah. So, that's only 18 out of 30. So that's the entire roster. So we know we're going to have, quote-unquote, surprises. Who do you think? Because my assumption is it's probably one of these women that wins. That would make the most sense.
Right.
And I think we're going to be on the same page here, so I'll let you answer this question. Who is going to win the Royal Rumble?
How can it not be Asuka?
Mm-hmm. Ding, ding, ding.
And we had mentioned this before about you had mentioned keeping her streak active, which is why she kind of has to win. I don't necessarily see it as that because I don't have a problem with Asuka, quote unquote, losing the Royal Rumble because it's not a pinfall or submission.
Right. I agree with that.
That's where those streaks kind of come into play. Like, oh, you can be on the losing side of a tag team match where somebody else technically loses or whatever. But that's always the key. Like, okay, if it's a streak, you haven't lost, you haven't been pinned, you haven't submitted. That's all they care about.
Yeah, and they can pivot to that really easy and not ruin any of her aura.
Or they could be complete dickish heels about it and turn her heel, and then as the streak keeps going, she loses by count out. And she's just she loses on purpose by count out as she's potentially going to lose. I'm still undefeated.
Yeah.
I've never been pinned. I've never submitted.
That would be fun. That's a fun story. Tom, you should go work.
Yeah.
You should go to Stanford.
Okay.
You can go work for Vince and not sneeze in meetings. And eat steak wraps every day.
I'd eat steak wraps, but I don't know if I can not sneeze. And I've got wicked sneezes too. I can't hide those things. You've heard my sneezes.
I think so. I was trying to recall one. I'm sure I have.
It gets violent.
All right. So, who do you have from NXT showing up in the women's Rumble? Because there will be a decent amount of NXT talent here. We can go back and forth on this. I'm thinking it's 4 or 5 out of 30, or out of the 12.
I'm assuming the Iconic Duo.
Yep.
Show up. At least, screw it, both of them.
Yeah, I think there's no reason to not put both of them in there.
I mean, Peyton definitely, but I mean, there's no reason necessarily to not put both of them in.
No, you get some good spots of them protecting each other too, and working together, so it works.
I mean, it's tough in the sense. Oh, they could go 1 and 2.
They wouldn't do that because the WWE audience has no clue who they are.
Yeah.
That's the only reason they wouldn't do it, but I freaking love it though.
Oh, that's part. I was trying to figure out how you get them in the ring together.
Or you could even have them enter like 3 and 4 and they take out 1 and 2 and that spot happens. I think that's a little more logical for the way they would want to book it, since people don't know who they are.
Right.
I still love it though. Either way, this is brilliant. I think we definitely see Ember Moon, champion or no champion, after Saturday night. We see her. I also think we will see Shayna Baszler.
Right.
Because that's how you get Ronda Rousey involved. I still do not think we see Ronda Rousey in the actual match.
No.
But I think that's the gateway through some interference. Something happens, but having to do with Shayna Baszler. But that's how you get Ronda and potentially the other 2 of the 4 horsewomen involved.
Yeah, I still figure Baszler is going to come into some conflict with Stephanie McMahon at ringside because Stephanie's doing commentary, and that's how you're going to build to this 4 horsewomen type battle at WrestleMania where she's going to get into an argument with Stephanie, let's say, and then Becky throws her over the top rope, or one of the NXT horsewomen throws her over the top rope, and then
chaos ensues.
Right.
Trying to think who else in NXT. You could see Lacey Evans, I think. They're real high on. They're trying to push her. I would love to see Candice LeRae.
I could see that happening. I mean, we joked before about her being in the men's Rumble, which may eventually. I could see her being in the men's Rumble next year.
We're a ways away from that being a thing.
Yeah. But she still needs to be introduced, really. Mm-hmm. So
you have to establish with the WWE audience that she is a legit intergender wrestler before you do that. It's different than when you had Beth Phoenix do it.
Because, I mean, it's a thing where we tend to forget sometimes that we're knowledgeable fans and we see a lot of the other products, but there's a large percentage of the WWE viewing audience that, like, they don't watch NXT, they don't watch independent promotions, they don't read, the insider pages or anything like that. So when you see somebody on WWE TV, like on Raw or SmackDown, that's it. That's all you know. So when somebody shows up there from NXT, you don't know any history. When Nakamura came in, people didn't necessarily – there were a lot of people that didn't know about him necessarily because they didn't follow NXT. And you run into this a lot with that NXT introduction that people go, oh, well, they're going to do excellent because look how well they did in NXT. No, you're reintroducing everyone again.
Yep. That's why you have to have that build with them. I mean, because you think about, 3 million to 4 million people will watch Raw every week. Only 1 million people are subscribed to the WWE Network. And then less than that watch NXT. Like, it's a small piece of the audience you're talking to.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I'm not regularly watching NXT each week. I will find out, oh, was this a week that I should watch or whatever. But I'm not necessarily following plot lines in NXT. I know that there are particular wrestlers that I enjoy that wrestle there, but I'm not following the feuds or whatever. I just kind of pay attention to whatever the next takeover is, and I just look and go, oh, they're feuding, I guess. Okay, cool,
Mm-hmm. So women outside of WWE, not named Ronda Rousey, who's showing up? Because I think we get one or two of those, and it could be their introduction to the company. You said this one last night, and it's been a rumor that she's re-signed, but Serena Deeb.
Right. I thought that was a possibility. I think Piper Niven would work well in a Royal Rumble type thing, and I think she got over pretty well during the Mae Young Classic.
Yeah. Toni Storm.
Toni Storm. I mean, they pushed her hard in the Mae Young, so I mean, for good reason.
One NXT talent we left off the list was Kairi Sane, by the way. I don't know why we didn't mention that. I think there's a very good chance we see her. Duh. Never mind. I feel really bad for totally forgetting about her.
I thought I had heard that she was hurt.
She's been on the road trip this weekend.
Okay.
So, I think she is
she's going to take her yacht down to ringside.
She's going to drive it through the streets of Philly.
Yeah.
Karma. She has said she wants to be in it, so.
And again, she's one of those ones that works well in a Royal Rumble environment. The crossover between her and Glow, and I think Vince and the booking community would be kind of into that because then you get that mainstream publicity.
Mm-hmm.
While at the same time Netflix would be, totally behind it, going, all right, well, it's just that cross promotion, that synergy, I guess. I don't know.
And then there's always a possibility that with like the women's Money in the Bank, the first one of those this past summer, a man could win it. So we could very well see Santino Marella or James Ellsworth.
Or we saw Harvey Whippleman on Monday, so
fuck it, the Brawler's winning. Would be weird.
That would be weird.
I don't know how you even explain that, but the Brawler in drag. I'm down. Oh, right.
Yeah.
Any other comments on the Rumble matches? I'm excited. I mean, there's a lot of... You could pick people to win and be very confident with it, but at the same time, there's still a lot of space for wiggle room here this year.
I mean, the Rumble's my favorite pay-per-view, realistically, just because I love the Rumble match and the unpredictability of it. And in past years, the predictability has been there, unfortunately. Right. You knew, what was it, a couple of years ago that Triple H was supposedly that surprise entrant, but you knew Triple H was going to kind of, we knew going into that thing that Triple H was going to go there and take the belt off of Roman because Roman was defending his title in the Royal Rumble. And then the other times where Roman won, and it's been predictable lately, but I don't think we have that this year.
Yeah.
Especially if Roman doesn't win. Please, God, don't let him win.
Amen. Please. Just for the good of humanity. In my timeline on Twitter.
Yeah.
So, let's move on to the other matches on the card. But should we stop and do an ad break first?
You announced it, so I think we kind of have to.
Okay. Hey, Tom.
Yes, JC?
Do you buy things on Amazon?
I've been known to, yes.
How do you get to Amazon?
Well, some people might say I type Amazon, but don't even bother.
Nope.
Just no.
No?
Like it's got letter. Don't even look up how to spell Amazon. You don't need to. All you need to learn how to spell are 3 words: cheaters never pin. And you already know how to spell that because you're subscribed to this podcast.
Doesn't mean
okay.
anything.
Or you go to the website as it is to listen to it on the website. Maybe you do that. I don't know. But
Yep.
you can figure out cheaters never pin. Okay. So you go to cheatersneverpin.com.
Yeah?
And you go to the website, and there's 2 buttons there. And maybe I'll talk about the other one later.
We'll get to that.
There's an Amazon.com button there. You can click on that Amazon button, and that'll take you to Amazon.com. But while you're there, if you go into that little search bar on Amazon and just type the words cheaters never pin and hit enter or return if you have a Commodore 64. That first result that you'll find at the top of the page will be our brand new Cheaters Never Pin t-shirt.
You will have never looked sexier in your life. You know what? Don't buy lingerie for your significant other for Valentine's Day, which is coming up in 3 weeks. You need to buy them a Cheaters Never Pin t-shirt.
You can cut it if you want to. You can do it Hogan style and just cut big holes in the back.
Yeah.
And I mean, there are other shirts there. There are other Section 328 shirts.
Yeah, there's...
Hell, if you want to, you can get a Hollywood Section 328 Cheaters Never Win shirt.
Why would you want to do that? What kind of heathen would you be?
But let's look at the difference. You could go Wolfpack and get a Cheaters Never Pin shirt and be cool like Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Sting.
Tomato face Sting.
Okay, just stop.
Sorry.
You're not helping my point.
Sorry.
Or you could buy the white Cheaters Never Win Hollywood shirt and be down with Stevie Ray, Horace, Vincent. Which would you rather be? I know what I'd rather be.
Are you down with the Wolfpack?
I don't know.
Anyway.
I've forgotten the theme already.
Amazon.com.
Yes.
Don't go there. Go to cheatersneverpin.com. Click the Amazon button on the front page before you do any shopping with Amazon and buy our t-shirt there too. There you go.
Because when you do that, when you click on that button and you shop on Amazon, whether you buy our shirt or not, by the way, buy our shirt, but whether you buy our shirt or not, a few pennies from your spending actually go into our pockets, and that helps us to put out fine quality content like you're listening to right now.
Yes.
So please and thank you.
Don't turn your back on the Wolfpack. Go to cheatersneverpin.com and click the Amazon button. All right.
Okay. Yeah, please make me stop.
Yeah, okay. Alrighty. So, the Usos will defend their SmackDown Tag Team Championships against Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin in a 2 out of 3 falls match.
This is going to be a good match.
Yeah.
It's going to be the best match on the card. That isn't a battle royal type thing.
I don't know, man. There's 3 good. There are potential for 3 out of 4 good matches that aren't battle royals.
This is a strong card, isn't it?
It actually is. Pulling back the curtain yet again. Last night when we got done going through the card, I was kind of on edge last night, and I have no idea why. And I remember we got done with this part, and I went, God, this whole show sucks, and I feel really down about it now. But tonight I'm like, no, this is good. This is good stuff.
It is weird, because, you were like, you mentioned how you were like hyped for the show, and then we started to talk about it, and you got down about it.
So down. I was a little manic last night.
Yeah. Good Lord, I just we're at Royal Rumble 2003 right now.
Okay, yeah, go on.
At my house, and Paul Heyman has come out with Big Show for whatever reason. I'd forgotten that was the thing. And Heyman's ponytail can't be real. My God, it's like he went and stole Rob Van Dam's ponytail.
Jesus, now I'm picking.
That's just my comment.
Now I want to see Paul Heyman and Rob Van Dam do face swap. Just think about it. Picture it in your head, folks.
Yeah, okay. We're done with that part.
But yeah, Usos and Gable and Benjamin will be a really good match. I think the Usos probably keep their belts. DUI notwithstanding.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's going to be a hell of a match, and we'll probably get a little bit of tomfoolery near the end, especially with Gable and Benjamin potentially winning the belts and then having it taken away from them like before, and then us having to do the best 2 out of 3 now. So
yeah. Seth Rollins and Jason Jordan defend their Raw Tag Team Championships against The Bar, Cesaro and Sheamus.
There's no way Rollins and Jordan retain, right?
I don't think so. Because we need to start their Mania program or programs, whether it's against each other, which I think is most likely at this point, or their separate programs.
Oh, wow. Brock Lesnar came out and he was a fit gentleman. Like,
yes.
He's like, seeing him now, he's just kind of, he's bulk. It's a different type of build, but I mean, just like here, and I don't know if it's because of, not that he was on the gas, but it's the gas.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe it's because he doesn't have a giant sword coming out of his torso, but yeah.
It took a second to process.
That's what it is. It's like a sword, isn't it? Or just
no,
like
it's a sword.
Survival knife.
It's a sword coming up to his throat is the whole idea of it.
Okay.
Yep. AJ Styles will defend his WWE Championship in a handicap match against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn.
It's gonna be good, right?
Yes, it'll be very good.
Like,
I think we have the potential for, the only thing that would make this not good is if it's overbooked to shit. Because my thought here is what happens is somewhere before, Owens and Zayn have been talking about, we're going to be co-champs, we're going to be co-champs, we're going to get a backstage at some point with Shane McMahon. He's like, you realize you can't be co-champs. Like, whoever gets the pinfall is the champion, and that's it. And then so they're going to end up having some infighting during the match. And it kind of breaks them back apart.
Yeah.
Because in theory, at least the commercial for Fastlane or the promo poster or whatever it was that was released has a fatal 5-way match for the WWE Championship leading into Mania, which is Zayn, Owens, Styles, Orton, and Nakamura.
Cards are always subject to change, though.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that was like a month ago I saw that.
Yeah.
So it could be they do that and they stay together and they're still together for that too. But I mean, I that's how I would book this. But I don't work in Stamford.
And Shane's getting involved somehow.
Yes. Brock Lesnar will defend his WWE Universal Championship, which is a belt that exists even though you see it, once a month, against Braun Strowman and Kane. Kane's going to take the pin from who, Tom?
As much as I don't want it to, it's Brock's got to retain.
Yep.
I think. I don't know. I don't see. I see Braun as this like Braun's the destroyer of worlds, but I do not see him as a champion.
He doesn't need the belt right now. There's no reason to put that belt on him. Like, it doesn't help anything. It doesn't build anything to give him that belt.
I mean, it's almost like how you had, I mean, realistically, like Hulk and Andre.
Yeah.
Andre didn't need a title because Andre was just, the destroyer, basically.
Right.
He was the attraction himself. They didn't need the chase to the belt or anything like that. So, yeah, as much as I want to see that belt off of Lesnar, it's not going to work on Braun personally for me.
Yeah, not now.
My God, it's not Kane.
It's gotta be.
Right?
It's gotta be Kane. I don't know why I did that in Paul Bearer voice, because he did not say that. Just mixing everything together. That will be the weakest match on the card. Write it down.
Because it won't be a match. It'll just be a brawl everywhere.
Yeah. Because since it's triple threat, it's no DQ. Like, crazy shit's gonna happen. It'll be fun to watch, but.
Yeah, we'll get spots. We'll get brawling outside, maybe a little backstage. Somebody's getting pushed off a stage.
Yeah. Maybe a stage gets pulled on top of somebody. Who knows?
Building collapses, I guess. I don't know.
Braun tips the Wells Fargo Arena.
It could happen.
It could happen. So that's the Royal Rumble, everybody. This Sunday, live and exclusively on the WWE Network.
Not exclusively on the WWE Network.
That's how they sell it.
You could pay $40 and watch it. What, 40, 50,
60,
probably.
60.
Good Lord.
Do you not have your JBL flashcards in front of you to tell the fans how stupid they are for buying it on that when they should buy it on the network? Tom, insult your fans. All right, so let's move on then to NXT TakeOver Philadelphia. This will be Saturday night, also from the Wells Fargo Arena. Going through this card really fast. Cassius Ohno takes on the Velveteen Dream in a singles match. I would assume Velveteen wins here because we need to build him up, and Ohno's the designated jobber to the stars in NXT.
Yeah, pretty much. Velveteen's fun. If you're not watching NXT, which it's very possible that you're not because, whatever.
But you should.
Check him out. He's neat.
He's so great, dude. Who would have thought this gimmick would have been that good?
How soon does he get called up?
I don't know. Like
Sunday?
SummerSlam. Give it this
Sunday?
Maybe. I wouldn't call him up, but I'd put him in the Rumble. Maybe. This would be a fun gimmick for the Rumble.
Yeah. Who's this?
Yeah, that's fun. That's true. That's a good point. I never thought about that. The Undisputed Era. Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly, Red Dragon, defend their NXT Tag Team Championships against the Authors of Pain. Against arguably the most dominant team in the tag team in the history of NXT. There's only one other I would put them up against, and that would be the Ascension.
Right.
I think the Authors of Pain are better.
Remember when the Ascension was threatening?
Yeah. Now they just are on WWE.com doing videos with Breezango.
Yeah.
Hey, getting paid. Good for them.
Yeah. Because they could have easily been cut years ago. And they're making their paychecks.
Exactly.
Good for them.
Part of me thinks this may be the swan song for the Authors of Pain.
Yeah.
It's time, and SmackDown needs a little bolster in the tag team division. So.
I think it'll tell you. I don't necessarily have a prediction of a winner. I guess, I would lean towards Undisputed Era, but I think the outcome of this match determines whether or not you're going to see Authors of Pain on the main roster or if they're still going to stick around until, say, SummerSlam.
Yeah, I agree. There's no reason to put them. They've done everything there, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
Ember Moon defends her NXT Women's Championship against Shayna Baszler, the Queen of Spades. Wolf versus playing cards. And it's hard. Like, so the story they're telling is, Shayna Baszler's basically a bully, and Ember Moon's sticking up for herself and everybody else, and that's the storyline here. So, like, based on that, I'm like, well, Ember Moon wins, because you obviously want to have your babyface go over in that kind of situation. But Shayna's such a force, and they feel really highly about her. You can just tell. And you could bring Ember Moon up now, I think.
That was part of my thought too, is, she's been at that point where I think that she could come up at any time, and she doesn't necessarily need the belt. I think they felt obligated to give her the belt for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. But is it too early for Baszler? I mean, like,
I don't see. That's my thing. I mean, her work is there, I think. I don't know. It's hard to say. My only concern with doing that is I don't think Ember's there character and personality wise to call up if that's your move to take the belt off her. Her work's there, like, for sure. So I don't know. I'm tempted to say Ember Moon retains, but I that's the least confident pick I have here.
Yeah, I mean, if you call her up and potentially, I mean, not that the group needs her necessarily, but you've technically got an opening now with Paige on the shelf. You've got an opening for another woman.
That's true. I didn't look at it that way.
Not that you need it in, what the hell's the name of that group? I can't even
Absolution.
think of it. Yeah.
She wouldn't fit in there. That's a heel faction. You're not positioning her as a heel.
But she looks evil.
Well, yeah, but so does Aleister Black. Like.
Yeah. But, oh well. Anyway, moving on.
In an Extreme
Speaking
of Aleister Black, he will face Adam Cole in an Extreme Rules match.
I didn't know you could have those in the next day.
You can. This will be the first one? Question mark?
I thought you could have those during one particular pay-per-view.
Well, I mean, the only time of year Raw and SmackDown take on each other is at Survivor Series, and maybe when Joe gets hurt and AJ needs an opponent, or maybe when Bray gets hurt and Finn needs an opponent, or in the Mixed Match Challenge. So, whatever. Rules are meant to be broken, Tom.
Yeah. But not Extreme Rules.
No.
Because the only rules in Extreme Rules are there are no rules. Extreme rules?
The only rules you've got are rope break and DQ, I believe, in Extreme Rules matches.
Okay.
Man, I also don't know how to feel about this, but I want to say Adam Cole probably wins because they need to keep building him. Not that he's not established, but, I don't know what Aleister Black gets from beating Adam Cole.
Well, his undefeated run is done.
Correct.
So we don't need to necessarily protect that anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I think you put Adam Cole in position here.
I mean, do Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly do a little tomfoolery of their own to?
Yeah, it's possible. I think I'm just picking Adam Cole. I think that's the logical choice here.
Okay.
And then in the main event of the evening for the NXT Championship, Johnny Gargano will challenge Andrade Cien Almas. Almas retains. Because Gargano is such a pure babyface, this needs to happen a second time. And it needs to happen at Mania. Or not at Mania, but you know what I mean. At TakeOver, I can't
Day before Mania.
Yeah, where is TakeOver New Orleans? There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. So that's my thought. That's the only reason I'm like, yeah, Almas retains. Keep Gargano on the chase. He's great. He's great in that.
Yeah, you build it up longer term. I mean, this put him in the spotlight, and you get him in a match where he gets so close. I mean, it's that same way with like any kind of pure babyface where you get, it looks like the odds are against him. He gets so close. You think he has it. You get like about 5 or 6 near finishes, and then either he makes some mistake or you get a little outside interference. And it's like, damn, if this just happened, he could have had it. Yep. And that's what you keep doing.
And my other thought here is Zelina Vega cost Johnny Gargano the match, and that's how you introduce Candice. Because then you can have a series of matches with them, and then she's with Gargano, and it's perfect. And that starts to build her too. So
right.
I mean, it's a possibility because you've got the built-in story that they're married, and they're WWE is open about that fact.
Right.
So, but that's TakeOver Philly. Woohoo! Should be a fun night. Should be a good weekend for the WWE.
Yeah,
should be.
It should be.
Key.
Keep everyone out of trouble.
Yes. Any other final thoughts, concerns, questions, Tom, before we wrap this thing up tonight?
No, I think I'm good with, there may be other stuff to talk about. I don't feel like talking about it.
Yeah, we're not going into it. We spent way too long on it on the episode that doesn't exist. So.
Yeah.
And you probably know what we're talking about. And if you don't, well, that's for us to know.
You're better off not knowing.
Yes. So let's talk about Finn Balor. No.
No.
Tom, tell the people where they can find you on the internet.
Go on the Twitter machine at Mr. Workrate, at MR Workrate. Don't go to any other social media. I don't do the stuff. I'm learning about like groups on. I've got updated Bitmojis, so I guess
Can I tell you how annoyed I am at those damn things? Fucking hate that shit.
My wife and I just spent before I jumped on this podcast, we spent about a half an hour just sending Bitmojis back and forth to each other. Some of the most ridiculous Bitmojis. There was like a bulldog with my face on it, and it had poop behind it. I don't get it. That's why I just stick with Twitter, man.
Kids, man.
I mean,
kids these days.
It's Nazis and crazy presidents, but it's what I know.
There you go. You can find me on the Twitter machine and Instagram and everywhere at JCBobbitt, JCBOBBITT. Let's see. You can find the show on Twitter at CheatersInVRPin. We're also on Facebook. You can give us a big blue thumbs up there. Tom told you about Amazon, but I'll tell you about Patreon. You can go to CheatersNeverPin.com and click the Patreon button on the front page if you'd like to just throw us a couple bucks a month as a little thank you to help pay for all the hosting and all that mess that we do every month.
Maybe we'll upload a little treat there.
Yes, maybe you'll get to hear the one-sided awful episode of this show that occurred.
Who knows?
Who knows? Anything's possible. It's Royal Rumble weekend, Tom.
Woo!
Yes. So we'll be back again next week, recapping what happened at the Rumble and at TakeOver and any other madness that may occur in the next 7 days in the world of professional wrestling. So for another episode of Cheaters Never Pin, I'm JC.
I'm Tom.
And we'll catch ya on the flip side.